Tapos tayo ang mag-iingat? Be cautious daw? Anong klaseng sagot yan? Mag-ingat daw kasi baka raw bloated ang 6.7 million na binanggit ng AMLAC. At baka paikot-ikot lamang ang pera kaya lumaki ng ganito. Theoretically, posible. Pero isipin natin, mga kasama sa komite, sinong matinong tao ang gagawa niyan? Anong klaseng tao ang paglalaroan ang pera ng ganoon? Paikot-ikot? Palipat-lipat? Inflow? Outflow? Sa loob ng napakaraming taon. Para ano? Para umabot sa bilyon-bilyon. O baka naman, ito na nga ang binabanggit ni Congressman Sia Adjong na nilalabhan na ang pera. Ayon sa kanya, ang paulit-ulit na labas-pasok ng pondo ay senyales ng money laundering. At kung ganoon, lalo itong dapat ipaliwanag. Kaya malinaw ang panawagan. Huwag manghula, huwag mag-assume. Ang Vice-Presidente mismo ang dapat magpaliwanag. Kung walang tinatago, buksan ang records. Ipakita ang accounts. Pero bakit hindi ginagawa? Bakit patuloy ang pag-iwas? At ang pangatlo, sa reaksyon ng defense team. Ito na nga, may bagong reklamo na naman daw na inihain sa Office of the City Prosecutor. Bagamat wala pa tayong natatanggap na opisyal na kopya ng nasabing reklamo, let me say this, handa tayong harapin ito. Pero pansinin natin, kung totoo ang mga ulat, ang tinutumbok ng reklamo ay ang sabina natin at ang proseso ng paglabas ng AMLAC report, hindi ang nilalaman ng AMLAC report. Klaro, hindi itinatanggi ang mga bilyones na nabanggit sa AMLAC report. At tila inaamin na may bilyon-bilyon talagang tinatago. At ang tanging reklamo lamang, bakit ninyo kami binulabog? Magreklamo na sila hanggat gusto nila. Ngunit hindi nito mababago ang isang simpleng katotohanan. Ang konstitusyon ang pinakamataas na batas. At ayon sa konstitusyon, lahat ng opisyal ay dapat may pananagutan sa taong bayan sa lahat ng oras. Anumang limitasyon na nilikha ng ordinaryong batas kasama ng Bank Secrecy Law ay hindi maaaring manaig laban sa mandato ng konstitusyon para sa public accountability. At tayo sa komiting ito, ang boses ng utos na iyan. Kaya nga, pwede tayo mag-issue ng nararapat na sabina. At lalo na, sa kaso ng impeachment, pwede nating hingiin ang report ng Anti-Money Laundering Council. Mga kagalang-galang na mambabatas, mga minamahal na kababayan, dagdagan pa natin ito and listen to this. Hindi nilikha ang Bank Secrecy Law para maging taguan ng hindi maipaliwanag na yaman. Ang layunin ng Bank Secrecy Law ay protektahan ang lehitimong deposito. Hindi pagtakpan ang kahina-hinalang galaw ng bilyon-bilyong piso. Ang papel ng AMLAC ay siyasatin ang mga kahina-hinalang transaksyon at iulat ang mga ito sa kinauukulan dahil ang pagpapalabas ng katotohanan ay hindi paglabag, kundi pagsunod lamang sa mas mataas na prinsipyo ng pananagutan. If there is nothing to hide, There is no reason to hide. There is no reason to obstruct. The only people who fear the disclosure of these transactions are those with dirty secrets. Transparency is the only response of those with integrity. Everything else is just an excuse. At tandaan natin, dati pa nilang sinubukan na harangin sa kagalang-galang na Korte Suprema ang kapangyarihan ng komite na mag-issue ng subpoena. Pero hanggang ngayon, walang temporary restraining order o kahit direktiba galing sa Supreme Court. Kaya malinaw, we shall proceed. At yan ang tatlong bagay na ginawa nila. Una, nagdeklara sila na handa silang sumagot sa Senado. Pangalawa, sinabihan tayo na mag-ingat daw tayo. At pangatlo, ang pag-file ng panibagong reklamo laban sa atin. At ngayon, narito na tayo sa puntong ito. April 29, itutuloy natin ang pagdinig. Kung ang nakaraan ay tungkol sa numero, ang pagdinig ngayon tungkol sa pagkatao. Hindi lamang kung saan napunta ang pera, kundi sino ang may hawak nito. Hindi lamang transaksyon, kundi ang intensyon. Today, this committee will therefore continue its pursuit of the truth. Sisimulan natin sa selyadong kahon na galing sa BIR. Isang kahon na naglalaman ng mga dokumento na maaaring magbigay linaw sa mga katanungan natin. Pero hindi tayo titigil dyan. Dahil pagkatapos niyan, pupunta tayo sa mas malalim at nakababahalang usapin. We will examine allegations involving threats, intimidation, possible violence, destabilization. Ang paratang na, kung totoo, ay hindi lamang nakakaalarma, kundi lubhang mapanganib para sa ating lahat. May mga video, may mga salita, may mga pahayag na kailangang patunayan. Kaya inaasahan nating marinig ang paliwanag ng NBI, National Bureau of Investigation. Sila ang magdadala ng mga video. Sila ang tutulong sumagot sa mga karagdagang katanungan tungkol sa mga ito. So let us be clear. This is no longer just about discrepancies. This is now about character. Sino ba talaga ang vice-presidente? Siya ba talaga ito? Ang vice-presidente? Ang ikalawang pinakamataas na opisyal ng Republika ng Pilipinas na malinaw na nagbanta sa buhay ng presidente na nag-utos na patayin ang presidente. Siya ba itong uhaw sa karahasan na nakuha pang magsalita tungkol sa pagpugot ng ulo ng presidente? Is she a public servant bound by the same laws as the person on the street? Or one who believes she is above the law? Siya ba ay lingkod bayan na yumuyuko sa batas? O isang makapangyarihang tao na gustong paluhurin ang batas? Ano ba talaga ang kanyang tunay na kulay? Iyan ang tanong natin sa araw na ito. Iyan ang susubukin nating sagutin. At sa huli, babalik tayo sa pinakasimple, ngunit pinakamabigat na tanong. Sa prosesong ito, sa gitna ng mga paratang laban sa vice-presidente at sa gitna ng mga ebidensya, karapat-dapat ba siya sa posisyon niya? Is she still fit in her position as Vice President of the country? Gaya ng lagi nating sinasabi, wala tayong papanigan, kundi ang katotohanan. Saan man tayo dali ng ebidensya, doon tayo susunod. Gaano man ito kalayo, gaano man ito kahirap, doon tayo pupunta. Our mandate is clear. Our resolve is firm, guided by the Constitution, anchored on evidence, and faithful to the trust of the Filipino people, and above all, led by the clear voice of our conscience. We shall continue this hearing. Ang sabi ng kampo ng Vice Presidente, let us be cautious. Mag-ingat daw tayo. Ang sagot natin, let us be truthful. Magpakatotoo tayo. With that, maraming salamat po. We direct the committee secretary to call the case.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Impeachment complaints against the Vice President Sara Z. Duterte, filed by Reverend Father Joel Saballa et al. And endorsed by Representative Laila M. De Lima, and filed by Attorney Nathaniel G. Cabrera, and endorsed by Representatives Bienvenido M. Abante Jr. and Francisco Paulo P. Ortega V.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized?
The Honorable Percy Zendanya,
Madam Chair, may I make a short manifestation?
can we do this after all the roll calls?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Comsec. We likewise direct the committee secretary to call the complainants, at least in order to be acknowledged.
The committee would like to acknowledge the presence of the following complainants.
Call the complainant, Comsec.
Yes. For the Saballa et al. Impeachment complaint, Father Joel Tadena Saballa, Father Rogelio del Rosario, MJ, Sister Geraldine Denoga, DC, Miss Pinky Tam, Father Joselito Sarabia, CM, and their counsel, Attorney Amando Virgil Ligutan, and Attorney Stephen Magalio. For the
We acknowledge, we wish to place on record that the private complainants, together with the counsels in the Saballa et al. Impeachment complaint, are present in today's hearing. That is for the record.
For the Cabrera impeachment complaint, the committee would like to acknowledge the presence of the complainant, Attorney Nathaniel G. Cabrera.
We likewise place on record the private complainant, Attorney Nathaniel Cabrera, is likewise present in today's hearing. That is for the record as well. May we direct at this juncture the COMSEC to call the respondent Vice President.
May the committee know if the respondent Vice President Sara Z. Duterte is present in today's hearing. The respondent is not present in today's hearing, Madam Chair.
Let it be placed on record that the committee secretary called the respondent Vice President, but she is not present in today's hearing. The purpose of that call is to extend to her the continuing opportunity to present her evidence, including counter evidence and clarificatory questions through the justice members. That is for the record. Finally, COMSEC, please call the resource persons.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The committee would like to acknowledge the presence of the following resource persons from the National Bureau of Investigation. NBI Director Attorney Melvin A. Matibag, Agent Johnny Mark Kalilong, Supervising Agent Jeremy Lotok, Senior Agent Homer Angluben, Attorney Al Matthew P. Umali, Attorney Yentel Malikad, and Ms. Ria Vanessa Asuncion. That's all, Chair.
Except for Director Melvin Matibag, who has taken his oath already during the prior hearings, we are requesting the rest of the resource persons from the National Bureau of Investigation to rise so that the oath will be administered. COMSEC.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee? Thank you, Madam Chair.
We shall now begin our clarificatory hearing proper, as mentioned before I proceed. Let me acknowledge the Honorable Zendanya for his manifestation.
Marami pong salamat, Madam Chair. Nabanggit niyo po kanina si Basha. So naalala ko yung pelikula ni Popoy at ni Basha, yung One More Chance. At ngayon na po, pagpasok natin dito sa hall, nakita ko po yung matatapang nating mga citizens na nag-file ng unang impeachment complaint noong 19th Congress. May I request them to please rise? Sila po yung representation ng One More Chance. Kasi po naudlot yung impeachment complaint na yon at ito yung one more chance nila para mapanagot ang Vice Presidente ng abuso sa kapangyarihan at nagnakaw sa kaban ng bayan. Salamat po. Nais ko pong bigyan diin, Madam Chair, yung desperadong attempt ni VP Sara at ng kanyang asawa para intimidate tayo dito sa Committee on Justice at ang mga miyembro nito. Tulad po na nabanggit ninyo nito nakaraang Lunes, nagpunta po sila sa City Prosecutor's Office, ang mga abogado ni Attorney Manasseh Carpio para po ireklamo at magsampa ng kaso sa mga miyembro ng Committee on Justice. Kaya lang po, parang may favoritism si Attorney Manasseh Carpio dahil iilan lang po tayo na mga binanggit niya sa kanyang kaso at hayaan niyo pong bigyan ko ng shout-out ang mga classmate ko sa kasong ito. COJ Chairperson, Representative Jervil Luistro, Representative Leila de Lima, at Representative Chel Jokno. Ang masasabi lang po natin dyan, manalimin po sila para makita nila kung sino talaga ang totoong nagkasala sa batas, lumabag sa batas, at nagkasala sa sambayan ng Pilipino. Hindi porket na-discover ng komite ang 630 covered transactions na nagkakahalaga ng 6.77 billion in total ay nilibag agad ang kanilang karapatan. Hindi rin dahil may 33 suspicious transactions sila na posibleng kaugnayan ng unlawful activities gaya ng money laundering at droga ay dapat bigyan sila agad ng proteksyon ng korte. At lalong hindi dahil humigit kumulang 2.87 billion ang maaring sila po ay tumanggap na ayon sa ating pong Bank Secrecy Law, ay maaari pa rin nariyaan. Dahil nga po, ang nakita lamang natin ay yung inflow at outflow at yung ating pong sinubtract, 2.87 billion ang natira. Hindi po ibig sabihin dahil nalaman natin ito at kung binasa nila na buo ang Bank Secrecy Law, ay nag-violate na tayo ng batas. Linawin po natin, hindi si VP Sara Duterte at ang kanyang husband of the year, Mans Carpio, ang biktima dito. For the reference of everyone, napakalaking halaga po ng 2.87 billion pesos. Aabutin po ang isang minimum wage earner sa Metro Manila ng 11,300 years para kitain ang 2.87 billion pesos. 11,000 years pong pagtatrabahuhan ng isang manggagawang Pilipino. Ang bilyong-bilyong pisong labas-masok sa mga accounts nila. At ilan po dito ay tumutugma pa sa mga deposito ng kanilang family friend na si Sammy Uy. Kung sino pa talaga ang may bilyones, sila pa talaga ang pumunta sa piskal para magsabing sila ay victim. On a related note, same day last week, lumabas ang ICC decision tungkol sa jurisdiction sa kaso ni former President Rodrigo Duterte. Kasabay ito ng pagputok ng sworn testimony ni former Senator Trillanes at ng reports ng AMLC. Nagkumpirma pa sa mga questionabling bank transactions ng mag-amang Duterte. Kung sino pa talaga ang pasimuno ng drug war, sila pa talaga ang may bilyong-bilyong drug money. It was no coincidence that these developments fell on the same day. It signaled that accountability is catching up. Simula na ito ng paniningil sa mga Duterte at hindi ang complaint ni Atty. Mans Carpio at kahit ano pang legal harassment ang makakapigil sa pagtiyak natin sa pananagutan. The committee will never bow down to millionaires, drug syndicates, or thieves. Our allegiance only lies with the Constitution and the Filipino people. Again, we will not bow down to billionaires, drug syndicates, or thieves. Gagawin natin ang ating trabaho at pananagutin ang nang abuso sa kapangyarihan at nagnakaw sa kaban ng bayan. Maraming salamat, Madam Chair.
All the manifestations of the Honorable Sentanya is noted by this committee.
Madam Chair.
Now we recognize the Honorable Chel Jokno.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning to everyone. Nung isang araw po ay kumalat ang balita na may nagsampa ng kaso laban sa akin, laban kay Congresswoman Leila de Lima, kay Congressperson Percy Sandanya, at mismo kay Chair Jinky Luistro. Sabi daw ay nilabag daw namin ang Anti-Money Laundering Act, ang Bank Secrecy Law, at ang Data Privacy Act. Of course, kinikilala po natin na kung sino man ay pwedeng maghain ng kaso, karapatan naman nila yon. Pero kailangan natin bigyang diin ito. Ang ginagawa lang po namin, ang ginagawa ng buong komite, ay ang aming tungkulin sa ilalim ng konstitusyon. Wala po kaming nilabag na batas, puro legal ang ginawa po namin. Kaya po mismo sa konstitusyon nakalagay, and I quote, "No member shall be questioned nor be held liable in any other place for any speech or debate in the Congress or in any committee thereof." yung pong pag-issue natin ng subpoena sa Anti-Money Laundering Council ay mismong nakabase sa rules of impeachment ng House of Representatives. And I quote, "The committee shall have the power to issue subpoena and subpoena duces tecum to compel the attendance of witnesses and the production of documents and other evidence." At Madam Chair, ayon mismo sa ating Korte Suprema, hindi sakop ng Anti-Money Laundering Council ang mga sinasabing prohibition from disclosing information. And if I may add, no member of the committee belongs to the Anti-Money Laundering Council and no bank deposits were disclosed during the hearings here. Sabi mismo ng Supreme Court, the prohibition and confidentiality provisions cannot apply to the AMLC. Otherwise, it would contravene its direct mandate under Section 7 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Kaya po, Madam Chair, I think it's pretty clear na itong pagsasampa ng reklamo laban sa atin ay isang diversionary tactic. Gusto nilang malimutan ng taong bayan kung bakit tayo naririto. Sana po huwag tayong madala. At ako po, I can speak for everyone else who has been charged. Hindi kami natatakot at hindi kami ma-intimidate. Itutuloy po namin ang aming tungkulin bilang mga members ng Committee on Justice at representatives ng mga sambayan ng Pilipino. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
All the manifestations of the Honorable Jokno is noted by this committee. Now we recognize the Honorable Congresswoman Laila De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is just very brief. Good morning to my colleagues in the Committee on Justice. Sinasang-ayunan ko po at sinusuportahan ang mga statements nila Representative Persis Endania at Representative Chel Jokno. Malinaw po ang agenda dito sa pagsampa na naman ng kaso na yan sa Quezon City Prosecutor's Office. Pagkatapos na nagsampa sila ng 3 o 4 na petisyon before the Supreme Court, and then meron din kaso before the Regional Trial Court. So ito na naman, criminal case. Ito po ay panglilihis sa issue. Ang akala nila matitinag tayo, ang akala nila ay hindi na natin itutuloy itong ginagawa natin, which is an imperative constitutional duty. Nakakapagtaka lang kung bakit na single out 4 na pangalan, 4 na mga miyembro kasama yung chair sa kaso na yan. When we all know, yung pagsabina ng mga AMLAC records are a collective decision of this committee. Ang pagkakaalala ko, wala namang nag-object doon sa pagsabina ng AMLAC records. And then, ito nga po, ay hindi natin alam ano na naman yan. And tutuloy ho natin itong trabaho natin at hindi tayo magpapalito, magpapaderail sa mga ginagawa na mga para sa akin ay isa na namang legal harassment sa pagganap ng ating mandato bilang committee in an impeachment proceedings. Maraming salamat po.
Madam Chair.
All the manifestation of the Honorable De Lima are noted. Are you a respondent or also?
No, Madam Chair, I would just also like
Would you like to be a respondent also?
No, Madam Chair. But I'd like to
The
still
Honorable
support.
Ko is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Despite the fact that hindi po ko respondent doon sa case, nonetheless, I'd like to also manifest my support sa actions ng committee na ito. And syempre, pag-criticize din doon sa mga naging developments in the past few days, papunta po supposedly sa last hearing date ng House Committee on Justice sa pag-find ng probable cause. Clear naman po sa arguments last hearing, na-foresee natin tinatry gamitin yung Section 6 ng Anti-Money Laundering Act and a misinterpretation of it para maging grounds for a harassment suit. Again po, Section 6 provides that the AMLC can have authority to inquire into particular deposits through a court order. Iba yun sa ginagawa natin. Ang ginagawa po ng committee na ito ay a government agency asks a government agency about records na meron na siya. The suit filed before the Supreme Court against members of the House Committee on Justice, clear po ito na desperate attempt para huling magkaroon ng paglihis sa issue. Ang tawag po natin dito, grasping at straws, dahil wala na pong mga arguments na maipresenta sa committee in relation sa kung paano ba didepensahan yung patuloy na hindi pagsagot ni VP Sara Duterte sa mga standing allegations laban sa kanya. So, Madam Chair, and to the fellow members of the House Committee on Justice, kailangan na natin pong mag-proceed sa iba't ibang processes of this hearing and beyond para matataka na po natin with finality, may probable cause po ba or hindi, para magtuloy-tuloy. At hindi po natin i-entertain yung mga misinterpretation of laws para po malihis yung issue. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
All the manifestations of the Honorable Co are noted. The Honorable Joel Chua.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I would like to make a manifestation of support to all the, or to the 4 members of this committee. Alam po ninyo, meron po tayong tinatawag na immunity, parliamentary immunity sa ating pong saligang batas. Ito po ay ginagawa lamang po ng mga kasama natin ang kanilang tungkulin. With that manifestation, Madam Chair, I move that we adopt this manifestation as a common sentiment of all the members of the committee. This manifestation of support, I so move, Madam Chair.
Second.
There is a motion to adopt the manifestation of support of the Honorable Chua as manifestation of the entire committee. The same has been seconded by the Honorable D.S. Paulo Ortega. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Let it be placed on the record that the manifestation of support is expressed by the entire Justice Committee for the 4 respondents in the criminal complaint filed by Attorney Manasseh Carpio. Before we proceed to the first item of our agenda, may we direct the committee secretary to report to us whether all the documents submitted during the April 14 and 22, 2026 hearing have been transmitted to the complainants, the respondent vice president, and all the justice members. Comsec, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The document submitted by the National Bureau of Investigation on April 14, 2026 was sent to all members as well as to the complainants and respondent. As far as the respondent is concerned, it was sent to the Office of the Vice President as well as to her counsel, Fortuna Narvaez and Salazar, on April 15, 2026 at 5:56 p.m. It was acknowledged by the Central Office Unit of the Office of the Vice President on April 15, 2026 at 5:59 p.m. And there was no acknowledgement from her counsel, Fortuna Narvaez and Salazar. As far as the complainants are concerned, the document submitted by the National Bureau of Investigation was sent to the complainants in the Saballa et al. Impeachment complaint through Attorney Amando Virgil Ligutan on April 21, 2026 at 3:16 p.m. and was acknowledged on April 21, 2026 at 3:50 p.m. It was likewise, the documents were likewise sent to Attorney Nathaniel Cabrera, complainant in the Cabrera impeachment complaint on April 21, 2026 at 3:16 p.m. There was no acknowledgement from Attorney Cabrera. That's all, Your Honor. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Comsec. We are now proceeding to the first item in our agenda, and that is to resolve the matter that was laid on the table during the April 22 hearing, the question of whether or not to open the BIR box. May I direct the committee secretary to bring to this table the BIR box. Ayaw mo doon? Para kitang-kita. Para nakaharap yung BIR. May I direct Vice Chair Bel Zamora to confirm to the committee that the BIR box remains sealed.
Yes, Madam Chair, as seen from the four sides of the box remains sealed, and we still see the tape that was placed there, as well as the signature of the Commissioner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
The floor is now open for manifestation, clarificatory questions, motions regarding the question of whether or not to open the BIR box.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
The Honorable Mika Gonzalez and then the Honorable Laila De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is correct, Madam Chair. Last April 2022, we laid on the table the decision on whether we should open the box together with the Commissioner. So, Madam Chair, with that being said, I move that today, April 29, we decide on this committee whether we open the box or we maintain the box intact and sealed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
May I request the Honorable Gonzalez to clarify the motion? Is it a motion to open or motion not to open?
I move, okay, I would like to rephrase. I move, Madam Chair, Tagalogin na lang po natin, na desisyonan na po natin ng issue na ito kung bubuksan o hindi ang box na isinumite ng BIR noong nakaraang committee hearing.
Perhaps that is a manifestation of her intention that we deliberate first on the issue of whether we will open or not open the BIR box. Thank you, Honorable Gonzales. Now
Thank you,
we
Madam Chair.
recognize the Honorable Laila de Lima.
Maraming salamat po. Mine is a manifestation and emotion. Gusto ko pong ulitin at panindigan yung aking naging posisyon last hearing nung tinalakay po natin yung laying on the table ng issue na to para na bubuksan ba o hindi yung BIR box at i-examine yung mga tax records. Presumably yung laman yan ay yung mga BIR tax records na kasama po sa subpoena. Ang aking pong pinakaposisyon ay sako po sa kapangyarihan natin, kasama sa mandato natin, flowing from the Constitution itself, to do that, to open the box and examine the contents of the box, because these are all subpoenaed by the House Committee, and this is relevant to the issues at hand, to the ground of unexplained wealth. Totoo po, ang sinabi nga po nung BIR Commissioner, nung nandito po siya nung April 22, na meron ho yung provision sa National Internal Revenue Code, Section 270, which establishes the general prohibition on the disclosure of taxpayer information. At pinipinalize nga po yung unlawful divulgence by BIR officials and employees of those taxpayer, of any taxpayer information. Pero meron ng mga exception. Ang isa po sa exception ay kapag ang mismong House, in an inquiry in aid of legislation, ay i-request ito, pero dapat nasa executive session. Yun po yung malinaw na exception. Ang posisyon ko po ay kung exception na tinuturing ang paghingi o pag-request ng House, an appropriate House Committee in aid of legislation, lalo pong dapat payagan, lalo pong i-recognize yung pagkuha ng impormasyon na yan while sitting in an impeachment proceedings ang komiteng ito. Because higher level at superior level po ang status ng ating komite kapag sitting in an impeachment proceedings. Now, to be unequivocal about it, Madam Chair, the constitutional duty vested upon this body cannot be impeded, curtailed, or conditioned by statute. Any law, however worded, must yield when it stands in the way of a direct constitutional command. Section 270 imposes a prohibition, but Section 20A carves out an exception. But both remain statutory in nature. Neither can prevail over the Constitution. Kung papayagin natin ang isang probisyon ng batas, yung NIRC, ang magdidikta o maglilimita sa kapangyarihan ng komiteng ito na isang mahalagang organo sa ating sistema ng pagpapanagot, para na rin nating ibinaba ang konstitusyon sa antas ng ordinaryong batas. Hindi po ito katanggap-tanggap. The Constitution is supreme. Statutes are subordinate. Administrative interpretations, just like what was shared to us or shared with us by the Commissioner of the BIR, are even more so subordinate to the Constitution. When the Constitution commands, all else must give way. We are convened as the House Justice Committee, acting not in our ordinary capacity to legislate, but in the exercise of one of the most solemn powers entrusted to this body, the power of impeachment. And this power is not incidental. It is not auxiliary. It is a direct constitutional mandate designed as a check against grave abuse, betrayal of public trust, and wrongdoing by the highest officials of the land. In this context, I respectfully submit that the refusal to open and examine the income tax returns in question on the basis of statutory confidentiality under the National Internal Revenue Code is a misapprehension of the constitutional order. Let us be clear, uulitin ko lang po, impeachment is not a mere legislative inquiry. It is a distinct constitutional process. To allow a provision of the tax code to override the constitutional power of impeachment is to invert the hierarchy of laws. It would mean that a legislative enactment intended for general administration could defeat a specific constitutional mechanism designed to ensure accountability at the highest levels of government. That cannot be the law. Pwede pong sabihin ng iba, those espousing a different view, na anyway, meron na po tayong probable cause doon sa mga nakita na natin at narinig na natin ng mga ebidensya. So wag na lang natin itong buksan dito sa puntong ito at hayaan na lang natin na ang Senado ang magbukas nito. Hindi ko po tanggap ang dahilan na yan. Kasi with more reason, na since we are talking here about establishing probable cause, determined probable cause, lahat ng mga pwedeng ipasok na natin para mas klaro ang usapin ng probable cause, dapat po ibigay na o makita na natin. Dapat ho, makita na natin ang laman ng box na yan. Hindi ho natin pwedeng ipadala lang sa Senado na hindi natin alam. Kasi later, tayo rin po ang prosecutors. It's the House acting through a panel of prosecutors ang titingin nito at magprepresenta nito before the Senate. Now, dapat makita na po sa puntong ito natin. Kasi tayo yung magiging prosecutors later at para lalong mapalakas ang usapin ng probable cause. So I submit that this body has both the authority and the duty to examine the income tax returns in question, subject to appropriate safeguards if necessary, but not subject to outright.
Gangster, you know, we do that better than anybody. I bet you got it twisted, you don't know who to trust. So many player-hating niggas trying to sound like us. Say they ready for the front, but I don't think they know it. Straight to the depths of hell is where them cowards going. Well, all you still down, nigga, holler when you see me. And let these devils be sorry for the day they finally free me. I got a caravan of niggas every time we ride. Hitting motherfuckers up when we pass by. Until I die, live the life of a boss player, 'cause